Right now at 10, area dads battle it out to see who the best dad really is. Plus, Juneteenth celebrations continue across the area. We'll take you to one at Kellogg Lake. And a look at what's still to come from the January 6th investigation committees as it reaches the halfway point of its public hearings. KOAM News at 10 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. This is KOAM News at 10. Starting this week, drivers in Neosho should watch for contractor crews making sidewalk improvements and working close to traffic along Route 8HH. Improvements include making sidewalks, curb ramps, and pedestrian areas conform to Americans with Disabilities Act requirements along Route HH between South Street and Charlotte Road. Well, lace up your white-bound sneakers and tuck in those World's Best Dad t-shirts for the Dad vs. Dad Battle Royale. Today at Wards Creekside Campground in Joplin, dads competed to win prizes in 6 different competitions. KOAM photojournalist Carrie Worthen has more on the Battle of the Dads.
We wanted to let the dads shine. We wanted to see who the world's greatest dad was. You've got your shirt, bring it out, let's see. We're gonna have a couple of events, the cornhole tournament, the Find the 10mm challenge, the Hold the Flashlight challenge, let's see, a cook-off. So we're just gonna have a good time. We got a DJ out here gonna spin some tunes and see if we can't appreciate the dads a little bit today.
Slow, stop. No, to the left. To the left. Nope. Slow. Now go up. Is it really? To the right. Right.
I actually saw a post on Facebook from a buddy of mine, Corey, and his post said, I saw 2 dads arguing over who was the world's greatest dad because they were wearing the t-shirts. So, well, let's figure it out.
7:13.
It's what dads do. We go camping and cook out. See on the commercials, Mother's Day, $3,000 rings from K Jewelers. For Father's Day, cargo shorts, $11. That's why we're doing this. Show dad appreciation. Have a good time and show dads that we do appreciate them and everything that they do for their family.
Winners of each competition went home with prizes from local businesses, but there was only one winner of the 2022 Dad Olympics, and he went home with a toilet trophy. The Mini Hackney Community Service Center today at Kellogg Lake held a barbecue and fishing competition along with games, music, and dancing in celebration of Juneteenth. Juneteenth commemorates the emancipation of slaves in the U.S. The community group aims to bring awareness to educate people on what the holiday means.
It honestly feels amazing because I didn't get to grow up with a lot of, I grew up with community, but I feel like we've kind of gone past that. In the past couple of years, we haven't been coming together as a community as much as we should. So having it recognized federally and then having an opportunity to do events like this is really making it amazing.
To find out more on this story, just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And now Nick Kelly joins us with a first look at our weather.
Well, Bronte, the heat just stuck with us once again, even after we saw some very isolated thunderstorms late last night and this morning. Didn't really do much for a lot of us. Most of us dropped back into the lower to middle 70s this morning, topping out at 92 in Joplin Regional, with everybody made it at least into the lower 90s this afternoon. Unlike last night, we're not tracking any thunderstorms out there. That is because we have the upper level ridge back in control as it's starting to edge right on top of us once again. That's going to keep us quiet for tonight, but it's going to mean that we're going to heat up once again as we get past tomorrow morning. Mid 70s to about 80 degrees for much of the region right now. Unfortunately, with clear skies out there now, dry enough air and a light breeze, we'll drop back into the mid 60s to start the morning out. But Bronte, we'll waste no time going back into the lower 90s, even though it'll be another dry day for tomorrow. But I'm watching a potential pattern change by the end of the coming week. That could give us a break from this. We'll break it all down here in a few.
All right, thanks, Nick. Well, it's not even officially summer yet, but already the U.S. is getting hit with extreme weather. That includes heat waves and severe flooding. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette has a look at the conditions affecting the country.
2 children used a raft to navigate their flooded basement. What's left following devastating flooding last week that shut down Yellowstone National Park.
A year ago, we were on fire. You could have walked across this creek and not gotten your feet wet.
Yellowstone's northern entrance is now closed through October. Flooding is just not something that usually happens there, so most don't have flood insurance. Scientists say climate change is fueling weather conditions like this, as well as early heat waves. Staying cool isn't easy in Minneapolis this weekend.
Going to the movies, gonna go see Jurassic Park. Yes, try to find restaurants inside instead of outside.
By Wednesday, 25 million Americans will be under heat advisories that will last until early July. In the South, temperatures will soar into the triple digits, with some areas 25 degrees above normal. Houston prepared for a steamy Juneteenth celebration.
Please hydrate, wear light clothes.
The heat has been so extreme in southwest Kansas, it killed cattle.
Cattle are extremely resilient animals, and they're very, very tough, hardy animals. Sometimes conditions get so extreme, it doesn't matter how hard producers prepare the environment, the operation, the animals for weather extremes.
About 2,000 heat-related cattle deaths have been reported in the past week. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
An estimated 40% of Americans live in counties that were hit by climate disasters last year. We take this time now to honor one of our many Forest Day heroes. Paul Rogers served in the Army from 1969 to 1971. During his service, he earned a Commendation Medal for Meritorious Service, his hometown, Riverton, Kansas. We thank you, Specialist Paul Rogers, tonight's Forest Day hero. After the break, what we can expect to hear as the January 6th hearing continue on Capitol Hill. Plus, why a multinational fast food giant has agreed to pay France about $1.3 billion. If your signal of KOAM or Fox 14 becomes glitchy, it's a sign of progress. We'll be broadcasting from a lower temporary antenna while a crew installs a new, more technically advanced antenna at the top of our tower. It's the final step in our More Power project. This will allow some viewers who previously lost our signal to get us once again. If all goes to plan, we'll be back up and stronger than ever by the end of June. McDonald's settles with the French government on a tax evasion case. The multinational fast food giant has agreed to pay France about $1.3 billion for wrongfully shifting revenue to Luxembourg and Switzerland. The settlement also includes back taxes and penalties. McDonald's lawyer says the settlement is not an admission of guilt, but an agreement to avoid a long trial. The Congressional Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol has reached a halfway point in its presentations to the public. There are 3 more sessions to go. Elise Preston takes a look at what we can expect to hear.
This week, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack plans to show former President Trump was involved in a plot to get states to name alternative slates of electors following the 2020 election.
We'll show evidence of the president's involvement in this scheme. We'll show courageous state officials who stood up and said they wouldn't go along with this plan to either call legislatures back into session or decertify the results for Joe Biden.
Congressman Adam Schiff will lead Tuesday's hearing featuring testimony from Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers, who says President Trump asked him to change the state's law to choose different electors. And Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger will testify he was pressured in a phone call to find more votes.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
At a rally Saturday, former President Trump reasserted that the things he did during and after the 2020 election were perfectly fine.
Word for word, this phone call could not have been better.
Committee member Zoe Lofgren says the Justice Department will decide who, if anyone, gets prosecuted criminally. But she says Congress can act to make sure electors are protected in the future.
The Electoral Count Act was violated, but we think we can tighten that up so it's less susceptible to abuse.
Representative Adam Kinzinger, a Republican on the committee, believes President Trump is guilty of seditious conspiracy, and he recently received a written death threat against him, his wife, and his 5-month-old baby.
There is violence in the future, I'm going to tell you. And until we get a grip on telling people the truth, we can't expect any differently.
Former President Trump has already threatened to overturn the 2024 election if it doesn't go his way. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The next January 6th committee hearing is Tuesday at noon Central Time. Later, the Royals aim for their 4th straight win, and the St. Louis Cardinals are in the middle of a 3-game series with the Boston Red Sox. All that and more coming up in sports.
Plus, our upper level ridge keeps us hot to start the week ahead, but changes could break that ridge down. Forecast next. Even though we kept things pretty quiet throughout the course of the day, there is no denying once again we got to put up with another hot day across the area. If there's any positives when we look at the past 36-hour temperature trend, at least from Joplin Regional's perspective, at least we didn't get back into the mid-90s like we saw the other day. Still, it was a bit of quite a mild start rather to the day, with overnight lows dropping back into the lower to middle 70s. This time around though, not a lot of humidity, but it was enough to send us back into the lower 90s this afternoon. Most of us around 91, 92 degrees, but at least after sunset, it looks nice from 7th and Rangeline, and we have seen these numbers drop off after sunset. We're at 78 now in Joplin, dew point at 60, just enough to make it feel only a degree warmer. Thankfully, those numbers will cooperate and give us a break from the heat and the mugginess as we go through the overnight. Most of us are in the mid-70s to about the lower 80s. You could argue a couple spots already near 70 around Table Rock Lake and Stockton Lake, but you factor in the humidity. Some of us, it still feels like we're either around 80 or in the mid-80s, even at the 10 o'clock hour late on this Sunday night. Fortunately, unlike last night, we're not tracking any potent thunderstorms that tried to hold on during the very early morning hours. That system faded away. All that we see at the surface is a surface high keeping that light south wind in place, and our next cold front trying to make a play in our forecast off to the west of the region. That won't come into play until a couple of days from now. But the big picture upstairs shows the upper level ridge regaining control. That may start to buckle down deep in the extended forecast, and I'll show you how that could play out, but not before we take a look at the next few days. We're thankfully quiet through the course of the overnight, mostly clear skies, the relatively dry air mass in place, and the light south breeze means we'll continue to drop off throughout the course of the night, ultimately back near 66 degrees as we get your Monday morning commute started. We keep things nice and dry throughout the day, but it's going to mean a quick warm up once again with that light south breeze and enough dry air relatively in place. Quickly up to 86 by noon. Joplin topping out at 91 for tomorrow afternoon. In fact, you can argue lower 90s, if not around 91 for the entire area as we get the new work week off on a hot but quiet note. Just enough humidity for tomorrow, though, that it could feel like the mid-90s during the peak heating of the afternoon. Not outrageous numbers, but something to keep in mind if you have any outdoor plans. We'll get a bit of a break with lows back in the 70s on Tuesday morning and then right back near the triple digits as surface highs, your actual air temperatures, will return to the mid-90s with this upper ridge in control on Tuesday. This ridge gets shunted back to the south just enough to allow that cold front out west to give us some scattered thunderstorm chances on Wednesday, isolated storms on Thursday, but that doesn't scrub out the heat. In fact, the upper ridge returns by Friday and Saturday to push us into the upper 90s. But once we go into Saturday night, Sunday, a stronger system coming in squashes that ridge, and I think that will be enough to give us a temporary break from the heat by early next week. 91 tomorrow, 95 Tuesday. We stay in the low to mid 90s through Thursday, upper 90s again Bronte Friday and Saturday. But look at early next week behind Sunday's system. This fits Doug's pattern, but it's going to be a short-lived break from the heat. But lows near 60 Monday and Tuesday morning of next week, lower to middle 80s. But once we hit Wednesday, that ridge and the heat is going to start building back in.
Oh man, well at least we get a little bit of relief before it kicks back up again.
Yeah, if the forecast holds, that is on the horizon. We just have to be patient.
All right. Thanks, Nick. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, Joplin Outlaws were at home today.
Yeah, Joplin facing St. Joe for the second time this summer. They try to even the season series tonight. Plus, the Royals have a chance to get their first series sweep of the year tonight against Oakland. Those highlights next. The Midwest Mustangs play for the Pitt State Tournament Championship today. The Mustangs topped NBA 9-1 on Saturday to earn a spot in the championship game. Today they face the Topeka Scrappers in the title game, and the Mustangs win it all 8-5. Mario Mangini collects 3 hits in the game. The Joplin Outlaws at home once again tonight, taking on the North Division leaders St. Joe. Outlaws win 4-1. Garrett Chun drives in 3. Liam Bailey picks up 3 hits and 2 runs. And on the mound, Ethan Sally tosses 5 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit and striking out 3. The St. Louis Cardinals are in the middle of a 3-game series with the Boston Red Sox. This series is the only time these two teams will meet this season. Even at 1 game apiece, heading into today's series finale, Harrison Bader ties things up at 1, knocks it through the left side. Tyler O'Neill scores and Bader slides into second. Skipping ahead now to the 8th, 3-1 Red Sox. Christian Vasquez blasts a 3-run shot to center. Now 6-1, and things looking good for Boston here late. But not so fast. Juan Yepes with 2 on crushes a homer in the 9th, trying to keep the Cards alive. But the Red Sox able to hang on and win this one 6-4. The Royals aim for their 4th straight win today in their final game against Oakland. Kansas City down by 1 here. Seth Brown drops it into center. Tony Kemp rounds 3rd and heads home. He's called safe. The Royals challenge it and they will win the challenge. The call is overturned, so it remains 1-0. Then top of the 6th, same score, 2 outs, bases loaded for the Royals. Michael Taylor strikes out swinging, and the A's get out of the jam. Bottom half, Sean Murphy. He goes deep for a 3-run home run. Oakland takes game 3, 4-0. This year's Men's College World Series has been all about the unranked teams so far. The Sooners, one of those unranked teams, took down 5-ranked Texas A&M in their opening game on Friday. Now Oklahoma in the winner's bracket faces Notre Dame today. Sooners win again, 6-2 the final. Tanner Treadaway goes 3 for 4 at the plate with 2 RBI and 2 runs. Oklahoma plays again on Wednesday, and they're just 1 win away from the finals. Matt Fitzpatrick is now a major champion. Fitzpatrick won the U.S. Open today, his first career major title and his very first win on the PGA Tour. It was an exciting finish at the Country Club. Fitzpatrick beat Will Zalatoris and Scottie Scheffler by 1 stroke. He shot 2 under par today and finished the tournament at 6 under overall. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
Across the U.S., people are facing scorching heat, soaring prices, and snarled travel as they try to enjoy a summer that has been a long time coming. Cole Higgins has the latest on the travel troubles facing so many Americans this holiday weekend.
Feels like a sauna out here.
More than 15 million Americans under heat alert Sunday from the Dakotas to the Gulf Coast. Some celebrating Father's Day and Juneteenth with record-breaking temperatures in the triple digits. Some people trying to travel this holiday weekend are running into trouble. Since Friday, thousands of flights have been canceled or delayed. The TSA reporting Friday clocked in as the most popular air travel day of 2022. TSA officers screening more than 2,430,000 people at airport security checkpoints nationwide that day.
We are not staffed appropriately for this summer flying.
Delta Airlines pilots say they're being overworked to accommodate the summer travel demand, even as the airline cancels flights. Delta says they're canceling about 100 flights daily this summer to try and minimize schedule disruptions.
We don't have enough pilots, and the company is scheduling more flights than they can fly.
Summer travel not only chaotic, but more costly as inflation hits a 40-year high.
We know this is going to be a tough summer.
U.S. drivers getting a slight break on gas prices this weekend. The national average for gas hovering around $5 a gallon, according to AAA. But drivers shouldn't get too excited.
Driving season just started, and we know that there will be continued upward pull on demand.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Secretary Granholm says her department's goal is trying to increase oil supply to correct the mismatch between demand for gasoline and supply. She plans to meet with gas and oil executives this upcoming week to discuss the challenge. We're back right after this.
What?
Disney fans, listen up. The ultimate Disney Dream Vacation has just been announced. You can now visit all 12 Disney theme parks on a 24-day adventure, if you can afford it, that is. It's called Disney Parks Around the World. According to the website, a private jet will carry 75 people from California to Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong, India, Cairo, Paris, and finally Orlando. The vacation will cost you big. It starts at $110,000 per person. Booking for the trip starts next July. Will start later this month.
That sounds pretty awesome,
Yeah,
but it's steep price.
If I had that much money laying around.
Right.
And even then, I would still go with just maybe a couple of the parks. I don't need to visit all of them.
Right, yeah, maybe just pick and choose.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a final look at weather.
Well, we're going to keep it hot again tomorrow, but not too terribly so. Right around 91 degrees, mainly mid-90s through the middle of this week, potentially upper 90s by Friday and Saturday. But fingers crossed, we hold the forecast by next Sunday, because that could be a stronger system that can knock highs back into the 80s.
Definitely. Well, that's our time for now. Remember, we're always on at KOAMnewsnow.com and with the KOAM News Now app. Thanks for making us part of your night.
Salon Service is